Howdy, I'm Brian Smith, and let me tell you a story about my path to the Mobile Game Design Masters at Full Sail. My best friend Jimmy's older brother needed someone to play against him with his mini strategy and tactics or war games. I was 10, fifth grade, 1972, during the height of the Vietnam War. Back then, all you needed was a tabletop, a pair of dice, and to be able to learn from your frequent mistakes. We played after school and on weekends. As teenagers, we played well into the night. In fact, well through the night and sometimes into the mornings. The games grew in size and complexity to ping pong tables and month-long campaigns. Then, I bought my first computer, an Apple II Plus, and the Gaming Angels saying, now I could marry my love of gaming with computers. I began to write my own games and dreamed of turning this love into a career. Green writes, your strategy must be to actively rebel against those forces that have pushed you away from your true path. My first real job at 16 was a fishmonger at my family's market. When I told my father, a fourth-generation fisherman, that I wanted to be a programmer, and I wouldn't even dare say anything about writing games, he was, disappointed. But in 1980, off I went to an out-of-state university to become just exactly that, a programmer. But then life happened. In 1982, Atari went bankrupt, along with the entire video game industry. When I graduated in 1984, I took the best job at the time, working for a large multinational corporation. We'll call those LMCs. What I did at that LMC was to jump to a completely different job about every 4 years when I started to feel stale. I wrote low-level microcode, provided technical support for Latin America, wrote and published 22 technical nerdy books. I spoke at international conferences for a decade, ran brick-and-mortar conferences across Europe, was a chief architect for IBM.com, and I ended my career as a manager, living in Ireland with my family. But then, life happened. I was declared redundant and laid off in 2016. Odd that, given Green's statement that we are one-time phenomena in the universe, our exact genetic makeup has never occurred before, will never, and nor will it ever be repeated. I could have then become a consultant or managed another LMC, but I've always dreamed of getting back to my primal inclination, creating computer games. In order to master a field, you must love the subject and feel profound connection to it. Well said, Mr. Green. The fact is, I've tinkered with games over the years. It was time to become the apprentice once again. Looking forward, I hope to tear a page from Green's work. He writes, the more people there are crowded into a space, the harder it is to thrive there. My goal is to become an independent producer, to marry the expanding mobile game ecosystem with my love for early tabletop turn-based war games of my youth. Not everything needs to be a 3D first-person shooter. Strategy and tactics, back to the basics of me. Finally, Robert Greene's Finding Your Way Back, the Life or Death Strategy, that section did not resonate with me. Greene writes, no good can ever come from deviating from the path that you are destined to follow. You will feel an emptiness inside of you that you will need to fill with any kind of belief system, drugs, or diversions. I've never experienced this while working for a soulless LMC. My career there was filled with awesome deviations. My view is that when you attack every job with a desire to learn, grow, conquer, this leaves you fuller, not emptier. Robert Greene writes, for masters, their inclination often presents itself in the form of a simple object that triggers a deep response. For me, one of my many turning points, it was the year 1976. I was 14. Jimmy, yes, the same one, and I watched my older brother play a text-based game on a newly installed teletype at his high school. At some point, he decided to allow me to press the return button at the end of each turn. From that tactile moment, hearing the clack of the teletype, I knew I wanted to become a computer programmer and create games for a living. My first goal here at Full Sail University is to fully embrace and relish in Greene's revert to the feeling of inferiority. I've never stopped learning, and I never will, but I've also been out of university for many decades. I look forward to this childlike feeling of inferiority. Second, I have many ideas of games for the mobile market. This month, my goal is to narrow down my capstone project to my top 3. Thank you very much for listening and letting me take you through my story of how I got here to Full Sail. Have a good day.